Outside, in one of the most evil places on planet Eternia, where evil abounds, where evil soars, evil hovers, where evil slithers and roars. Who is joining the ranks of evil today, along with these others who have wickedness and evil plots? There's another who slithers, who crawls, who marches into the battle. His name is Whiplash. He is who we'll be reviewing today. New Eternia.
Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting new Eternia Masterverse review. And that's right, we're taking a look at none other than the mighty new Eternia Whiplash. And he looks so cool. He is heavy and bulked out in this deluxe packaging. And then take a look at that bookend artwork with the more classic looking Whiplash, which you can pose him as in that form as well. And then the back art, which is really awesome. Just take a look at him decked out in all of his new Eternia garb there. And there, take a look at his bio card. If you want to pause and read that now, you can. Awesome. And there's the other selling points on the back of the box, and you can check out all of those on my channel. I have reviews up for them. But let's go ahead and break open this Whiplash over here in Snake Mountain and check him out. And here we are outside of Snake Mountain today to join the ranks of some of these evil villains to take a look at Whiplash, new Eternia Whiplash. So let's first take a look at his accessories. And first, Whiplash comes with a set of balled up fisted hands, both horizontally hinged, as well as horizontally hinged weapon holding hands. They're nice and soft and pliable so that he can hold his vintage style orange spear. He also comes with a flaming torch effect, and the flame is removable, and we'll look at that when we take a closer look. He comes with that new Eternia belt that can be strapped on, as well as the new Eternia chest armor that can be strapped on, as well as a removable helmet, which has nice gunmetal gray color with purple highlights with the horns. And so that will slip right on top of Whiplash's head nicely, which sits so flush it almost looks like it could have been a second head sculpt because it's very snug and nice fit. Alright, he also comes with this gunmetal axe, which is plain and simple with a little bit of battle scarring on the blade, but looking good. And we'll also take a look at Whiplash in his classics look. And so there he is in his traditional classics looking style with the vintage style and classic style looking orange belt, Masters of the Universe looking belt. Little different, but still has that inspiration, and the loincloth. He does have quite different looking toes compared to other Whiplash incarnations we've got in the past. But this guy looks really good. That head sculpt looks really serious and good. Wish we had have gotten a second head sculpt, especially since the helmet was removable and had a open mouth version, which would have been really awesome. But I love this shell. All of this looks like, to me, new material, new buck, new body work here mostly. And those gauntlets are removable. There's like almost some fur or some cloth type material coming out the back end of those gauntlets, but they slip right off when you unplug the hands and these fists. And so he is just looking really cool, even in his classics form. But now let's take a look at his articulation. And bringing our Whiplash on in a little closer here, we can see that he is looking mighty intimidating. He has his battle axe. He has this tail that plugs into this part here. It actually is not plugged in out of the package. You plug that right into this back piece here that is mounted to his butt, really nice and tight, which is cool. Just look at the detail on his back. Just looks so cool. Goes all the way up to his head as well. Goes all the way up into his skull there. Just really nice. And that is a bendable, pliable plastic with a metal piece in there so that you can pose that somewhat. It's not the most pliable or bendable or posable, but it will bend, and we don't get those holes that a lot of times you see in the bendy type plastic with the wire in it, which is, I thought, interesting. Even underneath, you don't see any holes that represent anything that, you know, like you do when you see sometime those toys that have that ability to bend and hold its form. So really interesting and really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and pose him out here without his new Eternia garb on, just so that you can see his movements very well at its best without that. And before I go to the articulation, just as part of the closer look here that we're taking a look at Whiplash, that is his awesome torch weapon or accessory. And you can remove the flame effect, and it is a translucent style flame, which is really nice with different, like about 3 different shades of yellow and orange there. And that is really cool because you can kind of see this looks very authentic. That's just really neat, and it's hollow on the inside and has some details and a wrap around the handle. That is just really neat. And then of course this just pops right on top of there. So as you can see, it is see-through. You can see right through that. It's translucent. And so that is really a neat accessory. All right, let's go on into our articulation. And first of all, you're going to be able to see that Whiplash will look up about that much, pretty decent amount, but he doesn't really look down very well. You can kind of bend it and then it bounces back. So he pretty much only looks straight ahead. Not a very good amount of looking down there. Not a whole lot of pivot, but he does get a little bit. Actually, you can kind of move it more that way, it seems like, for some reason. But it's because of the way his head is on that ball joint. Because as you notice, when you turn his head left to right, it's almost like he looks up more. And that's because of the angle. This guy kind of has a permanent hunched over look, even when it comes to the way his neck peg is. So when you pop off his head, you can kind of see that there's like a permanent hunch over effect that's going on here that is pretty, obvious as you look at him standing up. He has kind of a hunched over effect. Even his legs will not straighten up all the way, which we'll look at that in a minute, but his arms will go 360. His arms will go out 90 degrees, T-pose, bicep swivel, double jointed, very loose double jointed elbow on this side. He of course swivels and hinges at the wrist. And again, you can pop off those fists, remove that gauntlet very easily, and you can see the cloth or the fur or whatever that's kind of coming out from around that gauntlet there. So that's interesting to note in case you use that or would need to use that for any kind of customization. This side is the same exact articulation. You can of course see that he has the weapon holding hand equipped. I have the axe actually equipped on this side. But moving these arms out of the way, you can see that he's going to be able to crunch a little bit forward that way. He's going to be able to basically just sit up straight because this is going to hit the back here. When he crunches back or bends back, it's just going to kind of hit here. You're not going to be able to go back very far, but you can kind of incorporate the legs and go back a little bit further, which is fine. But he also is going to be able to tilt from side to side. And let's see if he has, yes, he does have the easier moving tripod style, I call it, diaphragm joint, so he will turn at the diaphragm, and so you pretty much get, you know, a kind of a hula hoop minus maybe the back going backwards. He of course swivels at the waist, and there's a little bit of a shelf here that bothers me. I think they could have gone a little bit further out with his body, or brought this in somehow where there wasn't so much of a shelf on that belt, but it still looks good straight ahead. He's going to get full splits like most Masterverse figures. He has thigh rotation. He's going to be able to kick up really a decent amount. Again, there's that permanent bent knee going on with this fella. He does have boot cut. He does have the ability, not quite to go tiptoes, but you can bend it. He's going to go up actually more than it seems like he goes down. He does have rockers, peg hole in the bottom. Just take a look at those feet. They're just really special. They almost look like bird feet, if you ask me. I think of Big Bird when I see that. That's pretty interesting. But I can kind of see lizard feet too. But that's wild. But then also take a look. See again that permanent bent knee, but it will still bend. But you almost don't need the top part because it hits, but you can see there how it bends very well, but it does bend at the top and bottom here. All right, it'll go back really good amount there, so he can really fold himself up pretty well and get some great poses, it looks like. So there he is in classics form. So now let's do some comparisons and compare him to his classics counterpart, as well as his new Eternia self, as well as some other action figures right now. All right, taking a look at both our new Eternia and our classics style Whiplash. You can see how they measure out. I went ahead and ordered 2 from Target so I could do this comparison, because I really want to display him as a classics style, you know, Whiplash, probably more so than not, especially in my videos and other reviews, along with my other Masterverse figures. But also I really wanted to have that look too, with the helmet and the new Eternia look. So that is really awesome. They are looking really good together here. Really cool. And here is our classics Whiplash. He's got the tail that attached on the back as well. His buck, very unique. This was a hard one to get a hold of even in the classics time period. And you can see his head sculpt there. We did, I believe, get a different type head that was more reminiscent of somewhat the Filmation. I believe this is the only head that I have, but that is really good. And you can see, of course, the orange classic belt loincloth. So stay true to that here. You have the orange belt, a little different, but still stays true to the overall theme. And of course, your furry loincloth, that purplish color. Still have about the same color. This is a little bit lighter over here. It's totally different looking feet. I think these feet were shared with Buzz Off, and I think even Clawful in the classics line, whereas in the Masterverse line we got different type feet for these, and so that's really neat. And you can see the scales and the difference in the buck. Certainly there's a difference in the head. There's almost a more of a serious frowny face with the tusks coming out with this, and the eyes are very realistic looking, whereas here you have a little bit more of almost like a little bit of a smiley frown, furrowed brow. You can kind of see that the head is done a little differently too, with the ears, and there's a little bit more of a pronounced, almost like cut off horns look over here, where these almost look kind of like just some growths maybe, or some small horns. But there's some differences, but you can certainly see, similarities too in both of these guys. You can use their tail, and I do have both of their tails cocked to the side. You can turn those tails. Forgot to mention that as part of the articulation, but you can swivel the tails on both of these at their connection point, and so you can kind of see the difference here. Really nice looking back part to the classics. maybe even better looking than the Masterverse version, the new Eternia one here, but still really impressive and looks neat. And you can see again here how you can swivel that tail and get it in line so it's even with the rest of the back. You can do the same with this one too, but they kind of use their tail to kind of stand up a little bit too, so really neat. They actually did a little better job here hiding the brake in the where it swivels, possibly maybe a little better than this one, but still really cool how really neat they measure up together and look side by side. So it's really cool to see the classics form of each other right here. And let's just go ahead and try the head swapping here and see how it looks. And here they are with their heads swapped, so you can see that the Masterverse one definitely fits on here, but it's a little loose. And of course, like normally, you have to heat up the Classics head for it to pop on that peg, but with a little bit of heat from a hairdryer, it pops right on. And they actually match okay. This one almost seems to match better as far as color of green than this one. This one almost has a little bit more of a brightness to it, but it does still match like his arms and stuff okay. But I'm not so sure. I actually like that one better on the Classics than I like the Classics on the Masterverse. But that's you know, showing you there how it fits and how it looks on them. And we'll give them a twirl here too, just to show you kind of how it looks from the side also. But you can see it looks good. So you can definitely get an idea of what that looks like if you're interested in swapping heads. And here is our Whiplash next to the Mike Young production MOTU Classics Ceratus. And he was in that He-Man and the Masters of the Universe episode. He also was one of King Randor's council members and was a part of that race. Same race, I believe, that Whiplash is, but this was a good guy right here. Ceratus was a good guy, and he was just one of the coolest MOTU Classics figures. So I just wanted you to see how he looked next to our Whiplash from Masterverse. I mean, he just had these bones and had the same style tail, except he had bone spurs at the end of his tail, which was kind of cool there. On Ceratus, he had real metal earrings, which was neat, and those blue gauntlets. So, you know, just really amazing looking artwork of the Four Horsemen for this dude. And you can see how he measures up next to here, as well as we'll go ahead and take this guy out of the picture and go ahead and set the new Eternia one in the picture here, so you can kind of get an idea of how he measures up with some extra garb. And he looks really cool there too. So you can see how they measure up together. Really neat. All right. And here is our Whiplash New Eternia style next to our Slive from Thundercats. Looks like he stepped right out of the cartoon. Love this Slive. You can check out my review on him. Some other lizard characters, which is also this, I think, a Fortnite figure, which I thought he matched up well with MOTU to go along with the villains. Has that look like a lizard man as well. And then there's the Classics version of our Masterverse Whiplash. So you can see how they all fit in here, looking really cool together. And here is our new Eternia Whiplash next to our Masters of the Universe 40th anniversary Skeletor that I got last year through that San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 2-pack with He-Man. And there he is also with the Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy comic version, Drax the Destroyer. And isn't it interesting how his belt, Drax the Destroyer's belt, kind of looks a lot like, that's right, Trapjaw's belt. Really neat design, very similar, I thought. So put him alongside here just to compare, because you also have the purple going on and the green, so you kind of see that Drax is a huge fella. Just take a look at him, he's neat. And this Whiplash is a huge fella too. Really is a tall figure, even though he is slumped over, he has kind of that bent knee, bent over back looking slumped over look. And then there, of course, the Classics look of him too there next to him, so you can get a look at how they measure up together here in this awesome Snake Mountain scene. Awesome. And here's our new Eternia Whiplash next to the new Eternia Deluxe Clawful. And you can see how awesome this Clawful looks. You can check out my review on him. And Too Bad, I have a review up on Too Bad also. Please check that out if you haven't done so already. And you can see how this Whiplash measures up, not only in the new Eternia garb, but also in the Classics form. Again, there they are next to these other deluxe figures looking awesome. And let's also check out Beastman next to him. Also next, yes, there he is next to Beastman, new Eternia Beastman, looking awesome there beside new Eternia Whiplash, as well as Monstar from Silverhawks, just so you can see kind of how he looks compared next to him also. So just really, really awesome alongside of all these action figures and so many more I'm sure you could partner them with. And thank you so much for joining us for another Super Dave review and another Masterverse new Eternia action figure review. We'll have some more action figures coming up soon down the pike. Come back and see us. And thank you for joining us. Please like if you've enjoyed this review. Subscribe if you've not done so already, and check out many of my other reviews if you'd like. You'll have a lot of fun. We don't just review action figures, we take you there. We take you on scene. And also comment if you have something to say or share or comment, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on another Super Dave review. Enjoy some photos in the photo gallery.